everyone, this is Claire and today I'll be covering Skye at Holland. A lot of you might be wondering if it's okay to enter into a 99-year leasehold property in Holland, considering the fact that there are so many freehold options around outside, just surrounding the area, and also you're in the GCB enclave as well. And also understanding where the price is at today's market and where Skye is standing today. So I'll be covering a couple of things. One, I'll be going through the project details and floor plans as well. In between, as I go along, I'll be including snippets of where we are with the pricing, what we are looking at for next year's pricing as well, and also whether it's a good choice to enter today or not. So let's get started. Okay, so I'll cover location, views, just to give you a good overview of where the south and north facing east views are. Fact sheet, unit mix, site plan, I'll cover a little bit, but mainly I want to talk about the floor plans, where we are with the pricing today. Coming to Skye at Holland, I think that's most important. And if you're buying for investment, is this the best buy or not? It really depends on whether you're buying a small unit or a bigger unit, but generally let me share my thoughts along the way, and then after that I will also summarize all the way at the bottom, like if you're looking at this particular budget or this particular layout type, is it going to be a good buy for you from an investment point of view. Where is Skye located? Skye is located along Holland Road. If you zoom in this way, actually within the area, we're sitting kind of in the prime District 10 where there are a lot of GCBs and it's also quite a close proximity to town. At the same time, there's also one Holland Village, which is a full-fledged mall, and also link way to Holland Village MRT on the Circle Line. Okay, so in terms of connectivity, I think it's relatively good. There are no schools within the 1 km, but within the 1 to 2 km, there are some schools to consider. Okay, but buying into here, I don't think you're looking that much from a school point of view, but really being in the location that is going to benefit you in terms of lifestyle, having amenities, and also having great connectivity. Okay, so this is where Skye at Holland is situated at. Let me just draw it out a little bit for you. So this is where Skye at Holland is going to be situated at. Is the plot of land is something like that. So it makes sense for them to park the facilities over on this side and then 2 blocks on this side, just to maximize the space a little bit in terms of providing the facilities and also be able to capture as many units as possible for them to make that margin that they want to from the developer's point of view. So where one Holland Village is over here, and then there is short walking distance to the shop houses and then to the MRT. And you're also kind of almost connected to the mall right outside. Okay, so in terms of location is that. In terms of views, what we're looking at is Skye at Holland will be situated like that. It's blocked by one Holland Village over on this side, but you see that you're surrounded by a lot of GCB enclaves over here. So this view is permanently here to stay. So if you're looking at something like that for own stay, I think in terms of location, in terms of live, work, play kind of mindset, and also having the great views to come home to every day, I think Skye at Holland is something that you can look forward to. Okay, but I'll jump into the numbers a little bit and I'll share my thoughts along the way. Where the site is over here. Okay, this is going to be the north view where you can see Bukit Timah Hill. You can see the whole GCB enclave. I've personally been to one Holland Village unit over there and the view was kind of facing on this side. Honestly, that view is something you wouldn't really find in Singapore because you're always surrounded by tall buildings, right? But in this case, this is a super private enclave in the District 10 area, and it's something you can kind of look forward to every day coming home. Okay, then back to the south view, right? What you can expect is you see the low-rise Holland Village shop houses, some HDB blocks as well. You can see all the way to like MBS, CBD, and the town area, and also you can see Botanical Garden. So both are offering quite good views, but at the same time, there will be some units that have west sun facing. So there's something to take note of, and later I'll cover a little bit when we go down to the floor plans. Project info: the 2 blocks. This is within District 10. This is a 99 years project, and it's going to TOP in 2029. There are 66 units, and at the same time, it's a full-fledged facilities development where they have the pool, the gym, and all that. So when you go to the show flat, you also realize that actually they have done quite a good job in terms of planning the space and making sure that for these 600 people staying there, they will still be able to enjoy the facilities over there. Developers, it's a joint venture by these 4 developers. They're all the renowned ones. They go in the different areas, but if you see the upper house, would be quite impressed with the facilities. If you have seen Pine Tree Hill, if you're around the area, you will also see that furnitures are actually quite good. So I wouldn't have any doubts about one, I think the floor plans the layouts are okay, and 2, in terms of the quality and the make of it, I think it should be quite impressive. So here are some perspectives. It's going to be a kids area. It's going to be quite a luxurious drop-off point, relatively big gym, and at the same time there are lawn areas and there are pools that you can enjoy as well. So in terms of looking at possibly from an investment point of view, if you want somebody, a tenant, to come by and be able to enjoy these facilities, I think this amount and this density of it will be actually quite attractive. So now we come out the unit mix. I think a lot of people might be wondering what's the ratio like and how does it impact you as an investor today. Okay, so today what we're looking at is, you look at the 2 bedrooms, right? They are actually almost more than 50% of them. Thereafter, you see that the 3 bedrooms and the 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms, they are of lesser units, of course. For the 74 units one, that means they are spread across 2 stacks. 37 units, that means there's only one particular stack that offers you the 4 bedroom premium with private lift and 5 bedroom premium with private lift. Okay. Later I'll cover quite a bit on the 2 bedrooms, especially because if you're buying for own stay or buying for investment, investment, I think the objective is totally different. We need to understand the price at the same time when you enter to decide whether it's going to be worth or not, and if you can accept the pricing and the potential profit when you want to exit maybe 5 to 7 years down the road. So here's the site plan. Like I mentioned, the space is a little bit odd. It's in this shape, but I think they've maximized it quite a bit with the pool here, over pool here, and then the facilities are all kind of central over here. And at the same time, they still have some play facilities for the kids. Okay, so I won't cover too much on that. Couple things to note, right? If you look at upper house that's by UOL, the bigger units actually have higher per square foot. So higher per square foot also means higher quantum. But at the same time, when you're in District 10 and looking at projects along this area, you also realize that actually for the bigger units, people who are coming in to buy a higher quantum, the PSF and actually the quantum does not really matter that much in terms of the budget that they're looking at. More importantly, what is important is the layout that is livable. They want to be able to, one, imagine themselves in the space. It has to be quite luxurious. And two, location has to be good, which this one offers as well. And three, in terms of amenities and lifestyle, it has to be there. So I think upper house and also Skye at Holland kind of matches up to that kind of standard. But of course, you need to zoom in on the layout as well to make sure that you know what you're buying into and what is the potential that you can get at the end of the day. The bigger units are also rare, like I mentioned just now during the unit mix slide. There are some that are only one stack of each. So in terms of looking at supply in the area, which I'll show you a bit later as well, in the area, if you realize the bigger units are quite rare, they are smaller boutique projects that they may not offer you the best facilities, but at the same time, those units in the 1005 or 1003 to 1005 range actually make a lot of profit on an annualized basis. So we can have a good view on that later once I cover the floor plans later. And then the third point, like I mentioned just now as well, 50% of the units are also 2 bed 2 bath units. So this is a rental play product, but the competition may be high because what you're looking at One Holland Village is also the same thing, where primarily there are a lot of 2-bedroom units, and in terms of the rentability of it, the demand, actually people have a lot of choices. Okay, so unit type analysis. So I do this for all the project analysis videos as well. Unit type analysis will be based on these 3 estimates. So low floor 2007 2008, maybe conservatively I would say 2008 per square foot starting from. High floor 3004 per square foot and average 3000 per square foot. So in the upcoming calculations that I have put up, I would base on the average so that we can get a good view whether does it make sense to go pay a premium for a better view, or does it make sense then the place that we need to cut off. So quick glance on the prices. This is not official. We are looking at 2008 around this area and then all the way to 3006. But honestly, I would think that within this range, right, is something that only people who are looking for own stay and really want top floor views, paranormal views of the place, then maybe they can consider something of a 5 to 6 million quantum, especially for the bigger units. Okay. Other than that, I think the range would be something like that. And then why people are saying now, like Skye at Holland, you're buying the 2019 prices, we'll explain that a little bit later. But there is this word going around saying that actually once you're coming to Skye at Holland, you're buying the 2019 prices, and it's not untrue, but at the same time, we need to be very careful of what you enter into. So where we are, just a quick overview, and this is not just specific to Skye at Holland, but understanding where we are with the prices today. If you're looking to enter in 2025, there are a couple of projects coming up. There's some coming in OCR, there's some coming in RCR, like Penreef, Skye at Holland. There is one more in CCR as well. That one is Zion Grand by CDL as well. So we want to know where the prices are today from a per square foot perspective, so we know exactly where the opportunity lies, and then you can see which product might suit you better, especially when it's critical this year. Okay, so when we look at the price gap between OCR, RCR and CCR way back in 2010, right? I like to use 2010 all the way to 2025 because back in 2010 all the way 2013 there has been quite a low in terms of the property market before it kind of picked up during the COVID period. So those who have kind of entered in 2010, you might have to tie it through all the way until now to be able to see that decent profit. Okay, but other than that, price movements in the past 15 years, we also want to understand where the price gap is. So last time before, when you look at OCR and RCR, OCR is on the red line here, RCR yellow, and then CCR here. We look at the price gap between all, right, actually there is a significant gap. That means, for example, if in 2010 I want to buy a 3-bedroom property in OCR, I would have gotten it at about 900 to 1 mil. Okay, but for me to enter into CCR property, I will need to pay 2 mil for it, so it's double that kind of price. And historically, we also know that CCR properties, in terms of layout, they may not be the best in terms of the offerings that they can offer for family to want to be able to live in the area, have good schools around the area. Actually, their choices are quite limited. So inevitably, and in a good way, of course, people are steering towards OCR and RCR properties, and it has always been like that since the start, where the price gap between the OCR property and the CCR property is always high and makes CCR very unattainable. So where we only get maybe investors or foreigners to come in and buy, and then they rent it out for rental income. But today, the dynamics has changed entirely. Okay, so when we look at the pricing like that, like I mentioned just now, if you 1 million versus a 2 million property between the OCR and CCR gap, right? Today what we're seeing is actually you can get an OCR property for 2 million, but at the same time, your CCR property, actually the gap has narrowed down and is being sandwiched by the RCR side. So if you look at the per square foot like that, the gap, right, between the RCR property has gone up quite a bit, and the CCR property is only a 15% gap compared to a 53% gap last time. So what this means to you today, right, is understanding that actually there are opportunities in the CCR region to be able to enter at a safe entry price, so that when you exit in the future, there is more potential. Basically, what we are seeing right now is that RCR prices have gone up quite a bit. If you look at Chuan Park, if you look at Ori, today Ori, if you want to enter a unit today, it's going to be about 3,000 per square foot. But coming to CCR from a perspective as a new buyer at the new launch stage, you can potentially get something at 2,008 per square foot for both Skye At Holland and also Zion Gram. This is going to be something that will help you in the future because CCR will not stay cheap for long. Okay, so let me explain that a little bit in the next slide here. Okay, so upcoming bids are right now signaling that there may be even higher prices next year. So what we're seeing is Skye At Holland here, the per square foot PPR is about 1,285, but the ones that have already kind of sold the land for this year that was going to launch next year, we have Bayshore as 1,388 per square foot PPR. So obviously is about $100 more than what Skye At Holland sold for. We have Diane Road, also relatively quite a decent location at 1,4 something. So they will likely launch at 2,008, 2,009 per square foot for a not so desirable location, like for example Bayshore, right? If you look at Holland Link, which is also just sold this year, it's not near MRT as well. It's sold for even higher than the Diane Road one. Okay, so the question is, in future, next time when the outskirts are going to be selling at much higher, you coming in at Skye At Holland at 2,007 per square foot, 2,008 per square foot might be a safer choice for you. But at the same time, we also want to know that in this current climate, what is the best product for you, and it really depends on your objective as well. So like I mentioned just now, you see that the prices are going up. Bayshore is going up. Chuan Grove is also more expensive than what Chuan Park en bloc for. Holland Link is not near the MRT. It's going to be in a very private enclave. It's at 1,400 per square foot PPR. Okay, so Skye At Holland coming in at 1,285 per square foot PPR is one, we're looking at really selling at one Holland Village pricing back in 2019, 2020. And two, the upcoming bid really do signal higher prices next year because we might see a huge jump considering that they're quite healthy demand at this point of time. People are still exiting to be able to cash out on their profit, and there will still be buyers coming in considering that the population is always increasing. There are more PR applications, there are more PR approvals at the same time. So all these things are kind of moving that market upwards. So here's the site plan with dimensions over here. So I think in terms of the block to block distance at 30 meters, it's okay. You may be able to see kind of like your unit over there, your neighbor in front of you. But other than that, I feel that they have actually strategically put units nicely so that they can maximize the number of units and at the same time provide you with the facilities over there. So like all these color-coded legends are all the unit types. Okay, so we have 2 bedroom, we have the 2 bed 1 bath, we have the 2 bed 2 bath, we have the 2 plus study, we have a compact 3, we have a 3 bedroom premium, and then the 4 bedroom with the private lift as well. So nicely spread out, I would think. Obviously for the 2 bedrooms where we are kind of situated in the middle, there will not be any offering for windows in the toilet. So for the 2 bedrooms, all they do not have them, including the 2 plus study as well. So let me jump straight into the floor plans, and I'll cover a little bit heavier on the 2 bedrooms, so don't mind me. If you are looking to buy something bigger, then I think you can skip past this, and I'll put a note in the description on where to skip past to get to the 3 bedrooms onwards. But I'll spend time on 2 bedrooms because I think it's extremely critical for you to know what you're getting into, whether you're buying for own stay or investment. Generally speaking, before I start, for 2 bedrooms, if you're buying for own stay and you want to enter into the pricing that is reasonable in terms of quantum, looking at the fact that it's harmonized and also the sizes are relatively smaller, you can, I think it's still a good buy. But if you're looking for investment, I think the unknown here is that one, the rental yield is not as good as other D10 areas like maybe Upper House or Orchard Novena area, and two, the profits are a little bit unknown at this point in time because there isn't any proven transactions in the One Holland Village area that can give you the X amount of profit, right? So if you look at, let's say we look up north a little bit at the One North area where One North Eden is, the profits that they're making are decent, but that's because the entry price is low. So there are a couple of things that we need to cover here. So bear with me with the 2 bedroom. If you're looking at 2 bedrooms, I hope this gives you some clarity. So we're starting from the 2 bed 1 bath unit is coming in at 581 square feet. There are 2 stacks, one facing inside the pool, the other one facing outside where the mall is, and also where One Holland Village in terms of the residences is over here. So coming in, there is going to be a long open concept kitchen, dumbbell concept. I think generally this layout has been quite common in recent times where you get open concept kitchen and then the dumbbell concept layout and the 1 bath, right? So generally speaking, for people who are wanting to live in the area and coming in here at the pricing that I'll share a bit later, I think it's quite livable for own stay for let's say like 1 or 2 people. But if you're looking at buying for rental, right, we want to understand where the rental is just right beside at One Holland Village. And if you look at One Holland Village, the 2-bed 1-bath, they are at 689 square feet and they're going around average about 4,008 per month. Coming in at Skye, 2-bed 1-bath, let's say you enter at conservatively 3,000 per square foot, which is on average, let's say on the 16th to 20th floor, you're going to buy in at about 1.7 million. Coming in at 4,008 per month in terms of rental, your rental yield is about 3.3%. So 3.3%, just to give you a bit of an idea, if you look at East Coast, while it's relatively close to town, in terms of the rental yield that you're looking at, is going to be about 2.6 to 3. Coming in the D10 area, Orchard, you got River Valley, you got your Tanglin, Novena, Newton area, right? The rental yield generally is going to be a bit higher. And that's because, one, the smaller units don't make much profit at the same time. That's why you need to compensate with the yield. In this case, what you're looking at, also betting on too, is that the rental yield is decent, okay, 3.3% is decent, but definitely lower than what the other D10 can offer. But at the same time, because of the entry price, you're hoping that we can get a bit more profit on that. So what we're looking at in terms of comparison, next time in your future buyer coming in to buy a 2-bed 1-bath, either to rent out or to stay, right, we want to compare the two layouts side by side so that we also know which one would be the better buy. Okay, so today we see the 2-bed 1-bath is at 689 square feet like I shared earlier. Level 20 was sold at 1.9. So potentially Skye At Holland coming in at 1.6 plus, and in between I would say the 1.473, which is the one that I shared with you earlier at about 3,000 per square foot. These two layouts almost exactly the same, but I do feel that actually the Skye At Holland layout is longer, less wasted balcony space. Of course, the aircon ledge here is included in the strata area over here, and for this one it's not. So whatever that you see over here is actually your full space that you can consider at 581 square feet. In terms of layout, I feel like actually if you can look at it from the point where actually the living dining area is much longer, it's going to be more welcoming for future tenants or future buyers coming in. I think between these two, the Skye At Holland 2-bed 1-bath would be definitely more attractive. But more importantly, what we want to do is look at a quick overview of where we are with the pricing today. Okay, when we look at Skye and we look at One Holland Village, which is just beside, it's best to look at it from comparing really apple to apple. Yes, one is integrated, the other is not. But looking at the pricing, you will also exactly know what is a safe price to enter into. Okay, so Skye is offering 2-bed 1-bath at 581 square feet, and One Holland Village has 2-bed 1-bath at 689 square feet. So today what we are looking at potentially is entering at 2,008 per square foot all the way to let's say 3,002. Okay, you're looking at entering at 1.6 all the way to about 1.9x, and that's where maybe you probably cut off under 2. And today what we're seeing is One Holland Village, when they entered, right, there were some units that entered lower, and this is at 1.6 million as well, because even though it's lower per square foot, the size is bigger, the quantum adds up to around the same. The other unit is sold at about 2,009 per square foot. That will make up to around 2.30 if I'm not wrong. So looking at this, actually people coming in and entering at One Holland Village at 1.6 million, what you are expecting today is coming in 2-bed 1-bath at Skye at the exactly same quantum. So is price settled in this area? I would say yes, there were people who entered at this price, but there were also people who have already entered at this price. So what does that mean for you, right? If you are looking at buying something that is already settled in the area, that will give you that cushion to know that actually there are people already paying this kind of price, and that makes your purchase a little bit safer. So here we're looking at, of course, setting a buffer. I would think in the 3,000 per square foot range is something that you can set for a buffer to cut off for a 2-bed 1-bath. Okay, but of course, the more expensive you pay, the rental yield is going to be lesser and lesser. Okay, so if you can enter something in the 1.6 range for you to buy a D10 2-bedroom 1-bath in a good location, I think it's still quite okay for own stay and also for investment. So jumping to a 2-bed 2-bath, there are two layouts over here. So one offers you the open concept kitchen, then dumbbell concept, 2-bed 2-bath, good dining area. Doesn't have to necessarily face the bath. You have a dedicated dining area over here, if not then out in the balcony as well. So 2 stacks, one here and one facing inside. Of course, I think in terms of pricing, they will be quite competitive. One here faces the pool, no west sun. This one faces the whole GCB enclave, but comes with a west sun as well. So in terms of pricing, I think they will price roughly about the same. So 6, 7, 8 comes with the enclosable kitchen, which I like. You can also have a glass door, you can just enclose it up as well. You have a dedicated dining area, you can put a bench over here. I think this layout will definitely be much better. Facing wise, in terms terms of here, you're looking at inside and outside over here. So looking at pricing wise, I think this one will be like slightly cheaper. This one will also give you some pocket views of the JCB area. West Sun might be slightly blocked depending on which floor you are at, but I think this one will be the cheapest thing. So if I'm buying for investment, right, do I look at a 2-bed 1-bath or do I look at 2-bed 2-bath? Okay, so what's more important to understand is also the size that you're buying to, which directly affects the entry price that you're buying to, right? So if you're looking to buy 500 square feet 2-bed 1-bath versus a 700 square feet 2-bed 2-bath, and just looking at about 3,000 per square foot, right, for a 200 square feet difference of space, that's about 600k really. So I think the difference is quite huge. That's why it's important to understand what size you buy into. For 2-bed 1-bath, I would think the smaller is the better. Coming in at let's say 1.6 to 1.75, your yield is actually okay. But if you're looking at 2-bed 2-bath, we realize that actually for one Holland Village, the rental is stronger for the 2-bed 2-bath. I think people generally prefer that kind of layout, and maybe the small family or couple who prefers the 2-bath, they're willing to pay a bit more for it. So hence the rental yield is slightly higher a bit. Okay, so more importantly, if I'm buying for investment and I'm looking at the pricing like that, for this size, and this per square foot, this entry price, it might make more sense for you to go for the 2-bed 2-bath. Also, in terms of looking at future demand coming in to buy for own stay, I think there are more people coming to buy and looking at 2-bed 2-bath for District 10. But if today, in terms of pricing, we're looking at a huge difference in terms of like 600k for example, then it really makes sense to just go for the smaller one, because then the rental yield will be much higher. So if you're comparing 2-bed 2-bath in terms of pricing today versus the pricing for one Holland Village, right? Let's say you enter at around 2.03 mil for a 2-bed 2-bath here. Today we are also seeing that for one Holland Village connected in the new launch phase, direct from developer, has already hit 2.5 million. So what we are seeing is actually there is a huge gap of a 500k gap. 500k gap for a 2-bedroom for you to be able to enter Skye At Holland at 2 mil versus one Holland Village coming in to buy at 2.5 mil. That's why they're always looking and saying that the pricing is actually the 2019 pricing, and people have already accepted 2.5, so 2 is actually quite reasonable. While I agree, I think for one Holland Village, we have not seen much transactions in that area yet. I think out of the 200 over units that are 2-bedrooms, right, I think 180 of them have been kind of rented out. So you see that profile of people are actually for rental. So right now, I think the strategy for a 2-bedroom, if you're looking to enter, it's really safe entry price, making sure that you know when to cut off, and 2, understanding that actually your rental demand is strong, but it may take a while to be able to move, because one Holland Village is always 80% of them are already buying this for rental and renting out, right? You may have some in the Skye At Holland area, which is another 300 over units that is maybe 80% of them would want to rent out. Then if they rent out, then the competition is going to be high. So it might take a while for you to rent it out, but at the same time, I think what's more important is making sure that your entry price that you enter into is not too high, so that you have that buffer for profits as well. Okay, now we come to the 2+ study. So one Holland Village actually does not have any 2+ study, so this might be an edge above the rest if you're comparing just the neighboring developments. Okay, so 2+ study, 732 square feet, comes with an enclosable kitchen. There's a dedicated dining area, same thing, bath dumbbell concept, and then 2 bathrooms but no windows. They are across 3 stacks over here, and they are going to be in the average 2.1 million range, which is the pricing that you will get for Zion Grand and also for Promenade Peak for the 2+ study. Of course, it really depends on where you want to potentially stay. Is this going to be the product for you to really just stay? Because if you look at surrounding areas, Skye At Holland, Promenade Peak, River Green, the remaining units, and also for Zion Grand, the pricing is going to be around 2.1, starting from around that range for a 2+ study really. Okay, so if you're looking to live in the area, I think it's okay. But if you're looking for investment, I would think just go as small as possible, which is at least the 2-bed 2-bath or the 2-bed 1-bath for investment. So there's another one that also before that, actually the 2+ study over here has an enclosable kitchen, yes, but the study is tucked in the master bedroom. So essentially what you can do is, you can put a massage chair here. This can be a study area. It's also separated by a small wall, which you can hack down and make it a bigger master bedroom. So for you to be able to come in and enter something that is a 2-bedroom with such a big master bedroom is going to be something rare. I've only seen in Sora, and that's a project in Jurong. But other than that, I've never seen another project in the city area or anywhere in the RCR region that has a study inside the master, which makes the master room much bigger. So this 2-bed plus study at 743 square feet. There are a couple of differences. One is not dumbbell concept, so 2 bedrooms on this side. Dedicated dining area. The kitchen actually has a glass over here so that you can kind of see through. And closable as well, but the study is tucked at the corner over here. So some people may use it as a study, but it may be a little bit dark. But other than that, I think what we can also expect is that there are people that use this for purely storage or like a storage room. So I think this layout is actually not bad for the fact that there's also only one stack, so less competition. Next time when you want to sell in the resale market, you will be the only few people selling in the market, because there are people buying for own stay, there will be people buying for investment to rent it out. So the units that are selling here will be rare, and some people who might want to enter into buying this for own say, one, they will appreciate the enclosable kitchen. Yes, they will also appreciate that there may be additional storage for you to be able to put like luggages and all that, which is very rare for 2 bedrooms today. So between the two, if the price gap is not too huge, I would definitely choose this one more than the 732 square feet, because then there'll be 3 stacks competing with you as well. So just to cover a little bit, this is the price matrix that is not confirmed for Skye at Holland. We can expect this kind of range of pricing, and then this is the price range for One Holland Village, which is transacted in the new sale market, that means direct from developer. If you look at just the 2 bed 2 bath over here, 797 square feet, it's already transacted from 1.9 all the way to $2.5 million. So for the 2 bed 2 bath over here, what you can expect, that you can see something that is 1.9 also, roughly around there. That's why you're kind of entering into really this kind of pricing. But of course, we know that there's some cut off, right? So for the 2 bedroom, I feel it should be cutting off around here, because this will overlap with the 2 plus study already. At the same time, there are other sizes to consider from the 2 bed 2 bath in One Holland Village, but looking at just considering that it's harmonized as well, this 2 bedroom will give you slightly a better edge, I feel, because one, the entry price is slightly lower and already accepted in the market, and two, the layout is actually more efficient. Okay, so here are my conclusions for the 2 bedroom. 2 bedrooms prices have been accepted in the market, like shown in the previous slide. So you will be buying to 2019 to 2021's pricing. The yield of 3.5% is acceptable in today's market, but of course, something that gives you a lower entry price would be better in terms of your yield. But at the same time, you need to understand that the entry price is most important in this case scenario, because that will determine the kind of profits that you potentially can get down the road. And lastly, you'll be getting a better layout as compared to One Holland Village, and I think that is valid in most cases. Okay, so it will be definitely a safer bet coming in to buy Skye at Holland rather than you buying resale. For example, if today you really want to stay in One Holland Village and it's a great place to stay, I think coming into Skye will be safer than going to resale at One Holland Village, where the pricing is a little bit higher at this point really. Okay, now we come to the 3 bedrooms. The 3 bedrooms have 2 different layouts. Okay, one is a compact one is the 1076 one. They always, nowadays you see the recent launches, they always have a compact version. In terms of affordability, it's easier to attain for people who needs 3 bedrooms versus something of a 1000 plus square feet one, which will hit about the 3 million mark already. That is better for maybe upgraders with cash out good profit on their property and they want to be able to live in the city, closer to the city. That is one option for them to consider. So the 3 bedrooms also sitting on 2 stacks, one here and one here. I like that the kitchen has full window over here for you. Not much wasted space on the foyer, but you still can be able to put something here that doesn't disrupt the space. Coming in, there is a full glass dining, so you can really literally look at dining, which makes overall the light and the living area bigger. All the bathrooms have windows, so this is what I like. There are some that are, like if you look at Ori's 850 square feet, the layout is something like that, a little bit compact, but there are no windows in the toilets as well. So coming in, I think this one will be a bit more welcoming. If you've seen Clavon's 936 square feet, I think it's going to be something like that, and feels a bit welcoming, quite wide as well, and the windows and all the toilets and also kitchen. Then we come to the bigger 3 bedroom at 1076 square feet. Generally, I feel that the size is actually quite decent. Coming in, you get the dry kitchen area, a dining area that can fit it like that. If you have seen Springleaf Residences, you've seen Lentor Mansion, you'll see that actually the layout is very similar. They have a dry kitchen concept, a wet kitchen that is not too big, and then you have a longish main dining area for you to enjoy. And then same thing, WC, toilets with windows and also 3 decent size bedrooms. And this is situated in this stack over here and this stack over here. Generally, I would think down here, you would be hitting the west sun on the wall of your master and into the bathroom. But generally speaking, I don't think this will affect that much. It will only affect if, let's say, the sun comes in like this. So if you look at Moonlight Peak, right, there are 2 layouts. One is the 1033 square feet and the other one is the 1076. 1076 faces Great World City and is fully sold out right now on stack 2 if I'm not wrong. 1033 square feet has direct west sun coming in on all the bedrooms. So that unit actually didn't sell very well, and I think those people who couldn't get the 1076 would go for that 1033 square feet. But in terms of the sun, I think in future buyers' point of view, it's going to affect in terms of the pricing and also how well it sells next time. Okay, so in the same way here, I think it wouldn't affect that much. I think what you can expect for the 3 bedrooms onwards, I think the layouts and the facing is all quite good. So looking at layout differences, we talk about the 3 bedroom premium at One Holland Village at 1098 square feet. It's transacted at 3.4 million. What they have here is that they have a bigger utility. Okay, the kitchen is slightly smaller. The balcony space is actually very big and the master bedroom looks quite small. But here coming in at 1076 square feet for the Skye at Holland, you get a dry kitchen that's fully efficient. You can put a wine cellar here, you can put a coffee machine, even a toaster oven over on this side. And then the balcony is actually not too big. Master bedroom much bigger, 13.9 square meters, and then an efficient layout in terms of looking at wet kitchen, a small yard, a WC and home shelter that potentially can fit a helper. So in this case, you can potentially fit a helper here, but it's going to be a bit disrupted because this is more like serving as a storage space. And Skye at Holland in this case, 1076 will potentially potentially be about the 3 million mark. If you ask me, Skye At Holland 3-bedroom at this kind of size versus the same size at Zion Grand, I think it's really very comparable. In terms of rental, I think they'll both command the same. But of course, in terms of layout, it's slightly a bit different. Location is going to be a little bit different as well. Zion Grand is right almost smack in the city at Great World City. There's slightly more amenities in terms of the full-fledged mall and also fully sheltered walkway to the MRT. Okay, so I think these two will be something to consider very carefully because the launch dates are also very different. You need to know whether you should wait for Zion Grand or not, or come to Skye. So I really think it really depends on the objective and where your price range is like before you decide what to go for. Okay, coming into 4 bedrooms, I think it's extremely important for you to note this. One, actually the fact that there is a very little supply for 4 bedrooms in the area. One Holland Village does not have 4 bedrooms. It's going to be only, I think, less than 20 units for the 3-bedroom plus study onwards. A lot of them are really primarily focused on the 2 bedrooms. Similar to this, but at the same time, we see that they have made 4 bedrooms and 5 bedrooms as well with private live for people who really want to enjoy the space and want to live in the area. At the same time, be able to enjoy the facilities and also amenities in the area. So coming in, private live, there's privacy from here. The main door is not over here, so people cannot look into the unit. This one really reminds me very much of Avenue South. Just that Avenue South has a landscape living dining area, but this one is a bit more portrait in that sense. You can actually close this up and then have full privacy for your helper as well, and then 4 bedrooms on this side. They're spread across 2 stacks, over here and over here. So this one is essentially going to be 74 units in total, and I think this one might be a good draw, but it really comes down to the pricing because I also want to know and understand whether there's going to be higher per square foot for the bigger units, and then that will determine what price you end up cutting off. So generally, we see that bigger units actually perform better in the area. So one example is Summerview Park. Summerview Park is a super old development, but it's situated on quite a big land plot. There are tower blocks and there are also like the workout apartments as well. So if you look at the tower blocks, right, they are mostly the 1948 square feet units. And if you look at the annualized profits, they are about 3 to 5% on average. For a freehold property and understanding that you are holding for a longer period of time, this kind of profit is actually quite good. So generally, there also is a lack of supply of bigger units in the area. If you look at Leiden, Farrer, and I've actually been serving buyers around the area, we also know that actually for developments like, let's say, Waterfall Gardens, there is quite rare for a good size unit to come up like that. Same for Summerview Park as well. So there are really a handful of smaller units in the area, which makes it worthwhile to consider because in terms of an investment point of view, there will be people willing to pay more, especially when there's undersupply. So today, if you're, let's say, entering in the 4 bedroom with private live at this one at 74 units, at any one point of time, let's say half of them are buying for own stay, and then another 30% of them are renting out. You only got 20% of people selling, which adds up to about, like, let's say 10 units of units selling in the market. So in terms of looking at D10 as a whole, right, want to buy something that is 4 bedroom with a decent size private live, it's hard to come by. Okay, so that will also make your profits a bit higher. I think in my previous videos, I also shared the example of Treasure and also Jadescape, where the 5 bedrooms make the most. Like within 5 years, they have made like 1.6 million. Also have the fact that there is very little around the 500 or even 1 km radius. You cannot find 4 bedrooms or 5 bedrooms in that size. That's where you stand to benefit a bit more because then it'll be more possible for you to command a higher price. So now we come to the 4 bedroom premium. This is 1464 square feet. Comes to the landscape living dining area, open concept kitchen in the sense where there's an island top here, which is more welcoming. Your guests can actually be standing around here and then be able to enjoy the whole space, including the balcony. So I think this one comes with a junior master, walk-in wardrobe. I think this one will be really luxurious in terms of looking at the previous one I just mentioned, the 1238 square feet versus this one. This one is a bit more of a luxurious product, and of course because of the size difference, it's going to be quite a big difference in terms of the pricing. So I would think the 4 bedrooms for the 1238 will be a good in between, because for people who are bigger families, they're looking to be able to afford and live in this area, and from investment point of view, the 1238 one will be a better choice. Now we look at the 4 bedrooms around the area here, Linden Woods, Naba Grove and Pantry Hill, right? So Naba Grove and Pantry Hill are just down the street from Ulu Pandan, not near MRT at all, but in terms of the pricing that we're looking at for the 4 bedrooms have already transacted up to a high of 3.94, and then for Pantry Hill, their sizes are slightly bigger, about 4 mil. So in terms of looking at quantum, today, Pantry Hill, Naba Grove, these people who are entering at this kind of pricing will need to sell at least 4.5 million to be able to make a profit. But why I'm saying that the 1238 square feet for the 4 bedroom is going to be a good in between, because you're entering here, no matter mid floor or low floor, you're entering actually a very safe entry price, where the people here will need to spend a bit more time to be able to exit at 4.5, while you can safely exit at the average pricing that is over on this side. They'll need a bit more time to exit for people buying Naba Grove and Pantry Hill, for you to be able to enter at, let's say, 3.6. And considering that for us here, 3.6 for 4 bedrooms is quite hard to come by, and there are also people already transacting at 4 mil for a 4-bedder. Here coming in this kind of range, I think something below this point is actually quite safe. You have that cushion for profits, and at the same time, you will have people coming in to want to buy. If you're looking at the the 1464 square feet you realize that actually there's a vast difference. There's quite a big difference in terms of the quantum. So this one is really more of a luxury product, where if you're looking to buy something that you just want to stay in, then I think the 1464 square feet is okay. But you need to kind of adopt a part sell, part stay kind of strategy for you to be able to maximize your profits, and you will need to wait a while more. I would say the 1238 square feet, you don't have to wait that long to exit. You can maybe stay for a couple of years and then you exit. You should be able to see quite good profits, considering at that point of time Nava and Pantry will already be transacting. Lastly, we come to the 5-bedroom premium, 1765 square feet. Okay, this one is really the luxury product in the sense where privately floor B, you get everything you need. So privately floor B, big size kitchen, landscape living dining area for you to be able to host, dedicated area for your helper where the yard can be, there's a storage room as well, home shelter, WC, all for helper, and then junior master, walk-in wardrobe, and 5 bedrooms and bathrooms over on this side. So there's only one stack of this. I would think this one will sell a couple of units, but not completely. It will take some time to sell because in terms of looking at foreigner demand, they're not there anymore because you need to pay 60% ABSD. So this one will move the slowest. I would think the one that will move the fastest will be the 1238 square feet. So if you can potentially get a unit there, I think it's going to be a good buy, just purely from our own stay and layout wise, own stay, and also from an investment point of view to be able to exit with a good profit. I think it needs to be the bigger units. So summary, this is going to be a draw for people who are looking to buy at a pricing that's acceptable, already accepted in the market back 5 years ago. But I would caution a little bit on the 2 bedrooms. So the 2 bedrooms, the supply is going to be very high. There will be a lot of people renting out at the same time. For you to come in to make a decent profit, you need to make sure that your entry price is very, very safe. That means you're buying on the lower bound and not the higher bound. If you're buying on the higher bound, you're really buying for the views and also for you to be able to enjoy the space. I think that's fine. For investment, purely for investment, I think there are other options out there that you may not have to run with the competition to be able to get the kind of profit that you want. 3 bedrooms, I think the layouts are quite decent, ideal for own stay. So there will be people entering this place for you just wanting to stay, be able to enjoy the amenities in the area and also have close proximity to the MRT. And honestly, if you look at the Circle Line, right, it's actually connected to a lot of places. So there might be people who are working in the workplaces that are around the area. Along the Circle Line, I think there will still be people coming in. 4 bedrooms, okay, so some of them, the 4 bedrooms only have one stack, so it's relatively a good opportunity. But at the same time, I think the 1238 square feet one will be the best draw in terms of entry price and also be able to exit your profit with enough demand coming in. But if you're buying for 4 bedroom, 5 bedroom, just really for own stay, the lack of supply will also help, but you will need to take a while to be able to sell, like what I mentioned here. The layouts have everything you need in terms of looking at a big family with a helper, but it needs to be a part sell, part stay kind of strategy where you need to wait it out a little bit for you to be able to sell it in future. So here's the end of my video for Skye At Holland. Here's my contact number. If you're looking to ask more questions about the project and you would like to take a look at the project as well, you can pause this video, scan the QR code and WhatsApp me directly. If not, you can just give me a call, we can have a chat, and if there's anything else that you want to know, you can reach out to me directly. If not, I'll see you in the next project analysis videos. I'll be covering all the 4 upcoming ones in 2025 and you can ask me questions along the way. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!